just to get one flight out, right? You have your cabin crew, your flight attendants, you have your pilots, you have your gate agents, you have the people who assist with wheelchairs, you have catering, you have the cleaners, you have people who are doing fueling, you
That's
have
right.
people who are loading and unloading bags, you have people who marshal planes in, then you have people in the tower who tell the planes when they can push back, and then you air traffic control who's telling the planes when they can take off and when they can land, and they are directing traffic in and out of the airport. So, uh,
Yes.
and they all have to coordinate one flight that has a very specific departure time, and they have to get all those moving parts to work in conjunction, to get that flight out on time. So there's so much to it.
Welcome to another episode of the Layover Podcast. My name is Bree. Today, we have Marques with us. What's up, Marques?
Hey, Bree. Hey, everyone.
How you feeling?
Feeling great. Feeling good. I'm on a layover right now.
Love that. Love that for you. In Dallas, where it's so hot.
Yes, it feels great inside.
Okay,
It
that's
feels
good.
great inside, looking outside. It's a beautiful view. It's like I have sunlight, beautiful skies, and a nice 70-degree
Okay, best
temperature
of both worlds.
on the inside. Yes, yes.
Yeah. Today, I want to talk a little bit about airports because I think a lot of people they get into the flight attendant role because I know people who have like come from office environments and they're like, I didn't want to work in an office anymore. I wanted to have more like location freedom, be able to go different places. That's one of the reasons I decided to become a flight attendant. But there are places that we do spend a lot of time indoors, and one of those places is airports. Probably flight attendants spend more time in airports than a lot of like the average everyday person. So that's what I wanted to talk about today.
Okay, well, what I would say is, I mean, everything you said is true. Um, I've also encountered many people who have come off type or desk type jobs, or essentially just a job where they go to one place and they're there, Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 type of position. And then they come to being a flight attendant or working at the airport, and the freedom that it gives, the ability to essentially be in a hotel room, 70 degrees, have a great view, and have a ceiling to floor window. And this is work.
Yeah.
This counts as work. Uh, it sometimes it's unbelievable. It almost doesn't feel fair at times. That's one of the benefits that it offers. We can be. I went overseas last week, and it was work.
Mm.
So uh, to have that opportunity, it's addicting. To be honest with you, it makes it really difficult to even consider going back to being at the office Monday through Friday,
Mm.
9 to 5. So yeah, this provides really wonderful opportunities to do things like that. Even working at the airport, there's so many moving parts. Um, I mean, essentially, there's the opportunity to either work outside or even inside the airport, but it's so large that the freedom or just the large areas is something that's really appealing. So
Yeah, the airport is its own kind of office. But like you
yes,
said, there are so many moving parts from baggage to getting the planes in to the custodial stuff to the people uh I don't know what else is going on, the managers, everything. So
just to get one flight out, right? You have your cabin crew, your flight attendants, you have your pilots, you have your gate agents, you have the people who assist with wheelchairs, you have catering, you have the cleaners, you have people who are doing fueling, You
That's
have
right.
people who are loading and unloading bags. You have people who marshal planes in. Then you have people in the tower who tell the planes when they can push back. And then you have air traffic control who's telling the planes when they can take off and when they can land. And they are directing traffic in and out of the airport. So uh,
Yes,
then you have your scheduling, you have your managers, you have
that's right.
all
Yeah,
the,
the people serving
and it's just for,
food,
you have people preparing the food, you
making
have
the
people
contracts between the airlines and the airports. You got the government who runs the airport.
yeah.
Like it goes on and
And
on and on.
they all have to coordinate one flight that has a very specific departure time, and they have to get all those moving parts to work in conjunction, to get that flight out on time. So there's so much to it,
Yeah, I love how you put
and that's
that. And
just one
it's
flight.
that
That's just one,
one,
just one.
one. I looked it up earlier. There were 982 million passengers 2024 traveling in
Wow.
the US.
900, how many? 900,
900, 982 million passengers going through US airports last year. That's more than the
almost.
US population, just to say. Of course, some of those are repeaters, the business traveler types, whatever. But that's 3 times the US population is 300 million. The US averages 45,000 flights a day. You just talked about all that goes on for one flight. This is 45,000 flights a day across
45.
all these airports. Yes.
And then we also have to consider TSA screening the buses to get passengers from parking
Okay.
lot to terminal, booking, checking in. It's just there's so much involved to get one flight off, and we have however many. So it's a busy process. For people who are not used to traveling, it can be stressful uh, because there's the stress of obviously trying to make it on time because it's all about being on time. And they have to consider packing, the traffic to and from the airport, getting through TSA, which can vary widely depending on the time, the day, and what airport they're going into, then finding the gate, then getting there. So it's just, there's so much involved, which makes it intriguing at the same time.
I agree. There's so much going on and it's stimulating. I
Mm.
something you said about TSA that, it can vary depending on the size of the airport, and I think the same can be said of airports in general. It's just airports are not created equally. There is a lot of variance depending on whether you're in Dallas or you're in Atlanta or you're in Columbia, South Carolina.
Agreed. Agreed. All the things we said, traffic getting to and from, because some places like the Dallas area, there's the traffic can be pretty heavy. Now, there are a lot of highways that go toward the airport, but still, with that being said, if you leave at the wrong time of day or you don't give yourself enough time, that's going to present extra challenges, extra stress, versus places like Columbia, South Carolina, where I mean, it's really simple getting in, which is a really nice airport, by the way.
It
But
is nice. It is nice.
um, it's pretty simple getting in and getting through TSA, getting to the gates. So all those things do play a role.
Yeah. I think one of the things for flight attendants is like, which airport are you going to be based at? That makes a big
Mm.
difference in a flight attendant's career.
It does. It does. Where a flight attendant is going to be based matters for several reasons. One of which can be where a flight attendant actually lives, how easy it is to get to and from work if they don't live in that city. They have to consider commuting options, and the normal person commutes, they drive into work or they take public transit. But oftentimes with flight crew, they may not live in the city that they're based in. And so when they commute, that means they actually fly into work. They fly to another city to then work their trip, and then they have to fly back home. So they have to, there's all kinds of considerations as to how many flights a day are there, what type of trips will make it easier for them to commute to and from. If they want to also obtain some sort of like a crash pad or temporary housing, shared housing, in the city that they're based in, or whether or not to move there or not. So there are lots of, and then if they decide to move, they have to consider, well, what will be transportation to and from the airport? What is traffic like? If someone decides that they are going to move to the New York City area, if they're based there, they may have two or three airports that they are responsible for reporting to versus somewhere else where there's only one airport.
That's right.
So for working flight crew, the airports that they choose to be based at or are told they will be based at, there are lots of things to consider because it's not always just a choice, to be based where they want to. We have to
Mhm.
accrue the seniority, to sometimes be based where we want to be based.
That's right. And kind of once you do get that seniority, it helps to have experience at different airports so you can choose and start to create your preferences. Like I know a lot of people were forced to be based at a small airport like Dayton, Ohio, for instance. And they're forced there and they're like, oh, this small airport, it doesn't have that much glamour. But then you learn, oh, wow, it takes me just 5 minutes to get from the parking lot into the terminal. So I create a little bit more time for myself in my get ready window by doing that, as opposed to being based somewhere like Philadelphia, where I have to take a shuttle from the parking lot to the terminal. And then once I get to the terminal, it takes me 10 minutes to get to the gate, etc.
Yeah, when I first started uh, my flight attendant career, we were given 7 cities to rank in order from 1 to 7 as to where we would like to be based. All of us in our class were told where we were going, which was the same city, and it was my number 3 choice. It was
Mm,
not even one or two.
mm.
Uh, and so the housing that we found, it was it averaged about $25 to get like a Uber or a Lyft to get to the airport. About $25 one way.
Wow.
Uh, I didn't drive it, didn't drive my car there because I lived kind of far away. And yeah, those were the circumstances I had to deal with. Public transit took probably 2 hours. So
Jeez.
that wasn't an option unless I knew pretty far in advance what time I had to report. But then if I'm gonna have a long work day, that wasn't an option. So
Exactly.
while it may have been a whole lot cheaper, uh, it would just take a lot of time. Where I'm based now, Lyft or an Uber is anywhere from 10 to $15, 10-15 minute ride, or I can catch the public transit, which only takes maybe 25 minutes.
Mm,
So uh, it's a lot quicker and cheaper to take public. Well, it's not quicker to take public transit, but it's cheaper.
mm,
Uh, but also, like I said, it depends if it's raining outside, if it's really hot. I'll still opt for Uber or Lyft, and it's even further away from where I live than where I was before. So driving my car there is really not an option for me. But
mm.
these are just things that we have to keep in mind. We have to consider. While it may cost more to take rideshare, we get dropped off right at the terminal. So all we have to do is walk in and go through security. So
Yeah,
these are just things to consider. And like you said, we have to incorporate that into our get ready time. How much time we need to prepare. So
that's real.
yeah.
So we talked a little bit about bases, but where you're based really depends on where your airline's hubs are. So
Yes.
I didn't think about this when I applied to be a flight attendant, like where are the airlines based that I'm applying to? How close is that to where I live? And as you were talking about, like what kind of commute does that look like? But I think that's something for people who are considering being flight attendants to think about. Like, I am going to strategically apply to this airline because they have hubs in X, Y, or Z place, and I would like to be based there because it will make my life easier.
That is one of the most important things to consider.
Hmm.
A person who is interested in being a flight crew or a flight attendant really should take that into consideration, realize, are they willing to be based somewhere other than where they live? That needs to be the first thing to consider. Uh,
Hmm.
if they're willing to do that even for a short term or temporary, then that's good, because it may be likely they may not be based where they live or somewhere close to where they live, but in time with seniority, they can be. But uh, at the first airline I worked for, I remember there was someone in my class who did not get the base that she wanted. Like I just said, all of us were told where we were going in spite of what we voted for.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
true.
and she decided not to continue for that reason.
Hmm.
And so that's something that, I mean, should be automatic, but I'm aware that people don't always consider that or know going into it. Hey, and it's a really good thing to find out about every airline that someone may be interested in. Find out where are the crew bases, and then consider, are they willing to be based somewhere other than where they live? Are they willing to commute to and from work? Obviously, if they are willing to be based somewhere other than where they live, if they are willing to commute or move to wherever they are assigned, then there's way more freedom or flexibility of where they can be based. It removes some of the limitation. It can enrich their experience, but there's other things to consider. Do you have family home?
Hmm.
What financial obligations do you have? Are you paying on a mortgage
Yeah.
while you're based, 1,000 miles away from home? So uh, these are all things to consider.
Yeah. And I
Uh,
think where your airport's bases are oftentimes not your airports, your airline's bases are. There are also hubs for your airline. And so you are, I don't know if this is the same at mainline, but you're more likely to be flying through those specific airports. You might start a trip here, fly into another hub of your airline, et cetera. So you're going to get familiar with certain airports. Whereas I'm not so used to flying into San Diego, but I'm really familiar with airlines along the East Coast just because that's kind of where my airline is. So that's another thing to just be aware of.
yes, and that's true. The headquarters slash major hub for the airline I worked for, I had not been there very much at all previously,
Mm,
but now I've been to that. I mean, I go into that airport very often now. And so if I ever considered being based there, well, I'd be way more familiar with that airport
yeah.
now. So yeah, that's definitely something to consider.
So you've seen a variety of airports. Do you have a
Yes.
favorite?
You know what? I really don't actually. I don't have a favorite.
You
I
don't have a favorite
have
airport?
no, no.
Hmm.
There's airports that I'm more familiar with just because I've seen, uh, kind of the ins and outs of it.
Hmm.
But no, there's not an airport that I have as a favorite, um, because there's different things that determine what makes the airport good. Like where I'm based now, that's a good airport.
Mm.
The but it's good because where I live is close by. It's easily accessible. Um, it's clean. It does not seem to be overcrowded.
Mm.
Uh, it seems modern, doesn't seem old, you know what I mean? So,
Yeah, yeah.
but Columbia, South Carolina is also a really nice airport, but I
It is
don't,
nice. I think
I
that's one of the
haven't flown
airports.
there.
Can you go outside in Columbia? Is that one of the those airports?
I'm, I'm not, I don't recall, but I
Okay.
don't know if you can or not, but it's not too small, but it's not big. It's not a big airport, but it's lots of space in there. It's never super crowded.
Yeah.
I just like the airport.
Yeah.
Uh, so that's why I say I don't necessarily have a favorite, but I haven't flown into Colombia in quite a while. So
Columbia is featured
yeah,
major. They're getting
so
a
I
lot of
mean,
love on this one.
I'm giving a lot of love in Colombia. It's a nice airport, but I don't have a favorite. I don't have a favorite. I just think that um, we have to consider what airports make it easiest for us or
Yeah.
benefit us better. I mean, there are things to consider with airports as dining options,
I was gonna say, what kind of things do you consider?
dining options being a dining options. As someone who works in airports, also consider taxi time. As we both know, there are certain airports
Oh.
that the taxi time tends to be longer or shorter
Yeah, on those early
because you
morning
have
flights, they be trying to
people,
put you to bed. I'm like, guys, can
you
we
have,
please?
yes, we have passengers who have connections. We have very limited amount of times in between flights. If we need to go get something to eat, or as I like to say, use a human-sized restroom, you
Exactly.
know, those those are things we have, and we aren't necessarily paid in that in between time.
That's right.
So taxi time matters a lot. It matters just as much to us as it can sometimes to passengers. And uh, I know I'm going on a tangent here, but you
No,
kind of
please take
feel for
that
those
tangent.
passengers. You feel for those passengers who, they tell you they're worried about their connection. They have like a 30 or 40-minute connection in a city that's known to have a 40-minute taxi time. You can
Exactly.
land early and still get to the gate late because of taxi time,
Oh
or
my
you
God.
get there 20 minutes early and then the captain comes on and says, well, currently our gate is being
Oh
occupied.
my God. Yes.
Yes, see, you know what I mean?
Like I can't
So,
like when you're on the ground and somebody has a close connection and they're in that window where they could make it, but it's getting really dicey. And then you're
yeah.
just taxiing and they miss it because their gate might be like right
Oh,
next door. It's just like,
yeah.
man, they can see the plane leaving. We are here, but they can't.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
that's not even a good feeling for us.
not
It
a good look
you
at
know, it's
all.
not
Mm-mm.
fun. It doesn't look good, doesn't feel good, doesn't look good on the airline. It's just
Yeah.
not a win. And it's just because of the airport, like this the traffic, the air traffic.
Yeah.
You've been on you there's been times where you taxi in and if you can see through a window, you see like 15 planes in line to
That's
to take the
right.
same runway.
That's
So
right.
those things all matter.
Yeah.
Um,
And
if
some
you're in
airports, they're a little bit more efficient than others. Like I know
yes,
Chicago is notoriously a pretty busy airport. Atlanta is pretty busy. But they kind of like knew they were going to be busy, so they're ready for it. Whereas some cities that are kind of like growing into themselves, I think Knoxville is
yeah,
going through a lot of like expansion, and so it's like, okay, what are we doing here? Or Charlotte is like, are we becoming a bigger city? And so you
yeah,
kind of see like that sort of thing.
yeah. So we see the effects of those things,
Yeah.
and that's just another you know thing that comes into consideration of whether an airport is favorite or not.
Okay.
So
What kind of, you said
I'd
dining
always
options, but you weren't very specific. Like, are you looking for a Cinnabon? Are you looking for
I'm
what were you looking for here?
I'm
Panda?
I'm not looking for Cinnabon, although
I
I don't
am.
mind passing by it. I like the smell, I like the smell.
I'm looking for Cinnabon.
Um, so because flights can be delayed, you need somewhere to eat. I'll say as flight crew, not always financially feasible to eat at the airport all the time because food can
Mm,
be expensive.
it's
But
true.
there are those extenuating circumstances when you've got to get something to eat, you know. So generally the smaller airports, the one food place they have, they close at like 7 p.m.
Oh,
And
true.
your flight is delayed till 10 and you haven't eaten all day.
Right.
So it'd
And
be
it's not
nice
a
to,
base, so you don't have a microwave to heat up what you
yeah,
have.
no, there's nowhere to microwave.
Yeah.
So places like that, dining, it matters to have decent dining options. No one is sad about there being a Chick-fil-A at the airport. That's always a good thing.
That's real.
And it
I
seems
gotta
like
say.
every airport has to have at least five Starbucks in it. A Starbucks in every terminal.
No,
You know,
for real. Like Starbucks is
yeah,
dominating the aviation.
yeah,
They got it on lock.
yes, I agree. It's a monopoly. We need to
I'm
do something
telling
about
you.
that.
I
But
feel the
no
same.
one
But
is.
Panda though too. Because
Panda,
I'm like, Panda, what are you up to? Because you're everywhere.
yes, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Um, yeah. I'm sorry, I can't. I was thinking about we had a medical yesterday, and a guy was allergic to something that was in the panda, but he knew it beforehand and still ate it. Didn't take his medicine, and I mean,
No.
we had to get MedLink and everything. Had to give him medicine out the doggone EMK because
What?
he ate some food that he knew he was allergic. I was a little salty about that. Ate some food he knew he was allergic to and had a
What?
reaction. Wait right till he get on the plane to start reacting and
He said,
stuff.
I'm risking it all. I'm hungry.
Just
It's
yeah,
possible.
traveling with his kid too. I was like, what kind of yeah, I'm sorry. I just had to that's why I was like, what I don't know whether to say it or not. Because when
No, I
you
feel
mentioned
it.
Panda, he ate it was some Panda Express
All
here.
right, we don't want to denigrate Panda, but I hear what you
Doggone
say.
Panda. We
Yeah.
was having a good day yesterday. We was having a great day. But anyway, anyhow.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Okay. I'm
Wow.
sorry.
Dang, that's crazy though. Like, wait, why would you
Yeah,
do that?
yeah. I know. That's the whole van ride. I'm like, how are you traveling with your kid and you eat something
You
you
ain't
know
think
you're
about your
allergic?
allergies? Come on.
Yeah, dude, just he just mad. Like I'm just gonna eat it anyway,
Right, right.
But at least just have your whatever medicine you take, just have it ready.
Mm-hmm.
Then one of the flight attendants was like, just take it before you eat, knowing you're about to do it. But anyhow, that's a whole nother. I'm sorry.
No,
I
no.
just had to get that out. Thank you for being
Right.
listening in. No,
Shut
talking about, talking about Panda Express.
up.
Doggone. Express allergies. You better watch out for Panda.
No, watch out, because they do say though that they use tree nuts and all that extra stuff. They have the little asterisk with the little thing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
gotta be easy on Panda because
Okay.
the orange chicken
I'm
does.
sorry.
All right.
I,
All right.
I know something else I want to say about airports.
Yes.
Dining options. This is another tangent. I wish there was some way they could limit alcohol consumption at the airport,
Mm,
especially before passengers get on flights, because I know there's so many incidents that happen where it was due to passenger intoxication.
that's real.
Sometimes we can't spot it before, or we can't spot it when they come on board. Sometimes we can't tell.
Yeah.
If the signs of intoxication are present,
And
we may not
even when you
recognize.
can, it's like I was in DC and a lady, she got kicked off a flight going to, I think, Savannah or something, which is also a nice
Yeah,
airport, by the way. You can go outside there
yes,
and they serve ice cream. But that's beside the point. The girl, she's going to Savannah, she didn't get to go to that airport because she had been drinking at the airport. So the flight attendants saw and they were like, she can't get on. I wasn't working the flight. I was just in the area sitting down waiting
yeah,
for something.
yeah.
So they kick her off the flight. She comes out and she's like sitting next to her husband, and he starts moving away from her. You can tell that there's like tension. They're
Oh,
arguing a little bit. She starts
yeah.
yelling at him, I didn't do anything and you effing know it. So, like
Oh,
I said, we're in DC. It's a busy
yeah,
airport. There are a lot of people
yeah,
in that little area right there. She's yelling, I
yeah.
didn't do anything. You could tell she's drunk because she's slurring her words and everything. She does that for like 10 or 15 minutes. By the end of all this,
Wow,
her yelling at her husband, he's slowly like inching away from her. The police have to come. There are five officers armed and guarded for this
wow.
little lady who had a little bit too much to drink. So they're talking to
Yeah.
her and she's like, they kicked me off my flight. There were no more flights out that night. So she had missed her
Oh,
chance to get there that day. Yeah, right. So
see,
they're intention. Then there are five officers in the terminal and all that just because of a few
yeah,
too many drinks. Few too many drinks.
yeah, yeah,
So I
yeah,
definitely see what you're saying.
yeah. I would. I mean, it would be. I think it would cut down on the number of incidents, but obviously, we also know that it's a big money maker
I was gonna
for
say, yeah, like
restaurants in these places. I mean, they can charge who knows what for a drink,
it's
and
true.
so
And people pay.
you know, yeah, and they yes they pay
And
they
you
pay
like
on
you want people to have their little fun, at the
yeah
airport while they're waiting on layovers.
yeah
But
yeah they pay on board too.
yeah,
They pay, and obviously it contributes to the overall experience. So if if people would drink responsibly, which most do.
Hmm.
The vast majority of people do. But, for those few who don't, um,
What would you
it
recommend they
presents to
do? Just like a little like,
some sort of a limit. I
mm,
don't know what the limit is, it can vary, but some sort of a limit to how many drinks a person can have
yeah,
before boarding a flight, at the airport. That doesn't mean they may or may not drink before, or they may be able to maintain their composure
mm,
better than others. But not that I think it would actually happen, but it would be nice sometimes, you know.
I feel that.
So,
Yeah, you were talking about the how much people are willing to pay for drinks in the airport. We know that food in the airport is also quite expensive, even like bottles of water. What's the most you've ever paid
yes,
for an airport meal?
the most I've paid for an airport meal, $15.
That's not
15
bad.
bucks. There's a place, but the higher the food gets, the better I do with not buying as much. It makes me frequent the grocery store more often.
I feel that.
So both of us have flown in and out of Charlotte. There's a place that sells pizza. I remember when a slice of pizza was $7, so I go get two slices of pizza. But the last time I checked, that same slice is now 10 to 11
It's
bucks.
$10 now. I cannot believe it.
$10
I
now.
can't
I
believe it.
remember a time when it was with seven is still a lot. I
It
mean, let's
is. But the pizza was
but
good. And I love pizza by the
it
slice. I
was
know
good.
exactly
Yeah,
what you're talking about.
you know
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
I know
yeah.
exactly.
Um, when it was $7, quite often I'd go in there and get a couple slices. And when I noticed it was $10, I just walk by, enjoy the sights and the smells, and keep going
That's it.
and eat the food that I bought at the grocery store that was way cheaper.
That's right.
So
Heat it up in the crew room. I know
that
that
is
those,
another.
no, go ahead.
I was just going to say that is another thing to consider for actually aspiring and current flight crew. Uh, Consider, as far as budgeting is concerned, it really makes a big difference to some people call it meal prepping or just take food and preferably take healthy food because it's better for the immune system. I mean, just there's just so many more benefits. Buy your food, grocery store. It's one of the benefits of being flight crew. When we go through security, we can bring our, if we're in uniform and stuff, we can bring our food with us.
Yeah.
Makes a huge difference.
It
But
makes a
yeah,
big
airport
difference. If
food
you
is,
get to a place and everything is closed, you get your night flyer like I am, and nobody nothing's open, you have yourself covered. Like,
yeah,
so even stuff like that,
absolutely.
it's meal prepping or however you want to call it, whatever, is worth
Yeah,
it for sure.
definitely makes a big difference.
Hmm. 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 So say it was up to you to design an airport based on all these preferences you've gathered over the years at working at airports. You mentioned food options. What kind of stuff? How would you set this airport up? What are you doing?
Mm. If I were designing an airport, based off of some of the things I've seen, the first thing that comes to mind is I would design it knowing that it's going to grow over time.
Hmm.
So I would design it with expansion in mind and try to design it in a way where the expansion of the airport wouldn't interfere with its current operations, if
Hmm.
that's possible,
It
you
is
know.
possible. I have to interject this because when I was just looking over like airport history and stuff, this happened in LA. So the guy was like, "Yeah, we expect first that the way that LA is situated in relationship to the city is pretty unique as far as airports go, but they also built this big parking garage." And they're like, "Dude, what are you doing? Like this is early aviation." But over the years, as people started to fly
Mm,
more, they were like ready, so
mm,
you
that's
on the
good.
sun, you on the sun.
That it really makes a difference because I mean, there's lots of airports have ongoing construction or expansion. Some of them it interferes more than others.
Yeah.
Some of them the construction is just that thing over there, whereas some of them, I mean, half the walkway is blocked because there's a repair slash construction that seems to have been ongoing for, years.
Yes.
So those things need to be taken into consideration.
Okay,
And
wait, one more. I'm sorry. Because we're talking
no,
about things that seem to be under construction for years. What's up with airport escalators and walkways? Because why is it always an escalator down somewhere? I'm not understanding what's going on. Do you have any insight on this?
well, I just noticed it's a current thing. It's a thing. I don't really know why, but it is a thing where
Yeah.
and it's cross country too.
Yeah, I'm gonna look up like who's
So,
the manufacturer, what's going on. No
yeah,
shade to y'all, but something is
yeah,
off.
yeah. And
Maybe
and the thing is, they are. Now, I'm gonna also look on the other side of the coin. While it is such a great convenience to have, it points to, it does not hurt us to walk a little bit more as a society. I'm just because your question made me more aware of the need that we have. Like, we can get a few more steps in.
you
I
know
mean,
what?
if we just finish eating some airport food, it's not going to hurt to just take a few more steps. But
Let me
it
tell you
seems to
something.
be, but you're right in that. I mean, if we don't have a moving walkway, God forbid we have to take some stairs. I mean, no, it's a crying shame.
Okay, let me
So,
tell you this. So, like, I think it's in Dallas. There are two escalators, and in between the escalators, there's this big stairway. As
yeah,
you see people come, I just watch sometimes. One person will use the steps, and like 200 people are coming through, and I'm like, wow, that's interesting. The mindset is like escalator, 100%. Well,
that is
99.
99, 99. You are so right. So I went overseas recently. In this city I was in, there were more people on bicycles than there were in cars.
Hmm.
I mean, and I'm not, and it wasn't close. It wasn't even close. I mean, there were women in dresses, men in suits,
Hmm.
whole families riding bicycles and walking. Of course, this particular day, the weather was great. It was perfect,
Hmm.
but very few cars. The lanes that are designated to bicycles, you know how you see some streets here,
Yeah.
you see some streets where there's a bicycle lane.
Yeah.
No, this city, there are bicycle lanes that have traffic going both ways,
Huh.
and you have to watch out more for the bicycles and the cars. Um, but I think it just goes to show we can assume that that's a society that's probably in better shape than we are.
Good guess. Might be a good
Now,
guess.
with that being said, if there's a moving walkway, we expect it to work though,
Yeah.
because it's like a tease to just be there, but
Right? It's
oh,
like,
you
why is
can't
it
use
there?
it.
At this point, it's just
Yeah,
taking up space. Like, what are we
yeah.
doing?
Don't
Are we
don't tease
walking?
me. My
Right.
goodness, I just got through eating pizza.
Okay.
I
Like, I,
mean,
I need
yeah.
to let it, do its thing and work
I
its
need to let
way.
this digest.
That's
To
it.
if it weren't there, then you just have it in your mind. Okay, I
You
have
would
to
just
walk.
walk.
But
I gotta walk.
when you see it and it happens, I've been there. You walk, you see it, you walk towards it. Then when you get really close, you realize, oh, it's not working,
Gotta
and
reroute.
so you got to reroute. So,
Yeah, maybe
but
they're
no.
broken down because of all the overuse, like maybe we're overdoing it.
Oh, I
X,
think I think that's a good point.
that could be it. So sorry
That's
for the manufacturers. It's not even y'all, it's us.
yeah, yeah. No, it's just we have gotten accustomed to convenience. I'll put it that way,
I
and
don't think you're
it
wrong.
is, but it is quite a disappointment
Yeah.
when, we're dragging our luggage. We just got through eating pizza and drinking Starbucks,
That's it.
and we have to get to our gate. So, yeah, I understand the frustration. I
Okay, I
do.
just had that in there when you're designing this airport.
I do.
Okay, so you want them to be able to expand. I think that's really smart to think
Yes.
about how they're going to change.
Yeah. The moving walkways, some airports have trains that get you from either one terminal to another or one end, essentially to the other end. That's
Hmm.
essential to help people make these connections. We need to have run for the aircraft. We need to have runways and taxiways, which are efficient but make it easy for the aircraft to quickly get to the gates they need to get to,
That's
because it's
right.
all about the connections.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't just go. one airport to another, as a lot of the airlines do the hub and spoke model. They have to make these connections. So
That's
that's
right.
just as important. On time departure and arrival is important, but also making it from one flight to another is just as important. Um, I
Definitely.
mean,
I
it's
think that's
great for
daunting
flights
for new
to,
flyers. People who
it
don't fly
is,
as often, they're like, I don't know about this. And then you set them up with these 30-minute connections, and it's like a recipe for
it's not.
disaster.
Yeah. And alluding to, what you were talking about before with uh, having, good signage, even just having people available to help direct
Hmm.
people to their connecting flights. So just the ability to get from one flight to another, the ability of the airport to incorporate expansion um, without it impacting current operations.
Yeah. Hey, on that
Those things.
the trains, I think so I've flown through Atlanta just a few times, but I
Mhm.
remember I took an underground train, but I think did they have two trains there?
I don't even know if there's two trains,
Okay.
but that train essentially goes through all the different terminals or concourses,
Yeah.
and I mean, it works well.
Yeah, Atlanta's a
It
big
works
airport,
well.
and I wasn't really confused at all. I was like, okay, boom, boom,
Yeah,
boom. Yeah.
for airport of that size and how busy it is,
Yes.
it seems to work well.
Oh, there is a second one. So in
Oh,
2009, they put a second, they call them people movers. It's called the ATL SkyTrain. So they have the
nice.
underground one
Okay.
and the SkyTrain. Okay, Atlanta, I see
Okay.
y'all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So big airport, busy airport, but they have the infrastructure in place to help move people, as the title people movers indicates.
How about amenities? Like what would you do amenities wise?
Amenities are a must. Um, we talked about the dining options. You have some places where I've seen some airports they have the minute suites. People
Mm-hmm.
can go and rest. Um, I've seen where if people, unfortunately, if people have to stay overnight due to cancellation or delay, they'll have mats out for them.
Hmm.
But any amenity, I mean, anything to improve the customer experience is a must. I mean, it makes the difference.
What are your favorite amenities? Top two.
Ooh, is this as a passenger or as a crew member?
Either way, you could do one passenger, one crew member.
Oh man. Oh, you know what? Comfortable seats with chargers is a
Yes,
huge amenity to sit down in between flights, actually for as a passenger and as a crew member,
100%.
to find a place to sit. And because there's some, when we go through airports, there's some seats that have the charger. It doesn't matter where you sit.
Yes.
There's an outlet or some sort of charging station in between every seat, whereas some you have to hunt for one.
I've walked through airports just outlet hunting.
Yeah, yeah. So that is a huge, especially because everyone has a cell phone. Uh, Crew members have tablets. People carry their laptops.
Hmm.
The families come. The kids have their gaming system,
That's
entertainment
right.
systems. So the chairs with the charging ports and the cup holders, huge
Yeah.
amenity, benefits everyone.
Yeah.
So
Because
I'll
people
say
are
that
working
that's
while they're
one.
waiting.
Yeah, absolutely,
Yeah, they're trying to make the
absolutely, one
best
hundred
use of that
percent.
time. Yeah.
Passengers and crew. We have a lot of business travelers. Yes, charging ports at every, the seats with the charging ports or outlets. That's you, and it benefits everyone. So I'd say that. I'd go with
Okay.
that. Um,
I like this
I'll
airport you're
just go
building.
with that. I'll just go with that.
No, what more?
One more.
Yeah,
Spacious restrooms.
that's valid.
Space restrooms that have lots of space because there's some restrooms are really small and they are kind of spread out too far.
Mm, yeah.
So accessibility to, and those family restrooms are really beneficial too. when mom or dad has to take the children in. You have men's restroom, women's restroom, and the family restroom.
Definitely. Or when
Um,
I just want to be by myself. I'm like, I
yes,
love a family
yeah. Look,
restaurant.
we're commuting to work. We have to change.
Yay.
Those things come in really handy for a commuter. Go
That's
change
right.
right there, get into uniform or out of uniform,
You need a little extra
whichever.
privacy for whatever you got going
Yeah,
on. Family restroom.
yeah. Get to the gate, charge your phone while you're waiting, and
Okay.
then there you go.
That's
So
it.
yeah, I'll say those two,
Okay. Okay.
because they benefit everyone.
I like that. I think
So I
we're
already
gonna I'm gonna be your consultant as you build this airport and suggest that we also add massage chairs. When I
game
go to
changer.
Philly, when I go to
Yeah,
Houston Hobby, the little
yeah.
massage chairs, little $5 for 15 minutes. Hey,
Oh yeah.
I love it when they squeeze the calves. That's my favorite part.
Oh, nice,
Oh yeah,
nice.
definitely calf
You
squeezers.
you. I'll say this: you are definitely not the first flight attendant I've heard mention those massage chairs.
Yes.
That is a huge amenity because we are on our feet a lot,
Hmm.
dragging our luggage and sometimes having to move or stand up on the airplanes in maybe awkward positions. I know some flight attendants who actually will go get a massage or they'll sit in those chairs and they're doing more than just the minimum. I mean,
Yeah.
they're because it's worth it. I mean, for our
Yeah.
health and
And
to be
sometimes you're just
comfortable.
sitting at the airport for so long. And I know
Yeah,
some of those massages, like I think I was traveling to LA. This is not working, just with a friend. And he was like, I have to get a massage. Like he's so bougie. But he's like, I have to go get a massage. So he goes, I think he paid, what was it? I think it was either 990 or 60 for 15 minutes or something like that. And I'm like, to me, that's too much. That's too much. Like,
yeah,
I'm gonna go pay that at a massage place, but not for this guy to rub my shoulders for 15 minutes. But he was like, for me, it was worth it. But these little massage chairs, like I said, $5, $10, you're getting like a half hour.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's true. I've never seen those massage places empty.
You know what? There must be something to it. I gotta
There
try
has
it
to be.
then. I need to try it.
I've never seen them empty. Anyone with, I don't want to say back issues, but we all at some point experience some sort of discomfort.
Mm.
I've never seen them empty. I've never heard anyone complain about
Well, hey,
it. And if people are willing to pay for it or pay whatever they list for it, I mean, that just proves that it's beneficial. That's a great amenity to have.
yeah, the
Yeah,
massages will go far
yeah.
for sure.
And anything to improve the customer experience. Hey, I had a customer can say I had some good food. I was able to charge my phone. I
Hmm.
got a massage in. I was able to use the family restroom.
Right,
These are
right.
all things that matter.
I do like traveling after all, I'm not so stressed, the
I was able to
airport is
get to my gate quickly because I got on the
okay.
people mover.
Yeah, the
All these things
taxi was
matter.
short and
Yeah,
efficient, and I made yeah,
yeah.
I like this airport
Anything
result.
to kind of reduce the stress of travel because it
Definitely,
can be
especially
stressful.
traveling with family, traveling, you might be running a little behind if you're like
Yeah,
me. So, yeah,
yeah.
definitely. Have you ever been
So
stuck at an airport?
yes, yes, I have a few times when commuting.
Mm,
Um, a little bit after I first started, when we were all told where we were going to be based. After that, I was able to go to my number two choice. And so I moved there. But after I moved there, I was based in another city. So I commuted for a little while.
mm,
And there were several times trying to get from one city to another that I wasn't able to get on. And so I'd have to either stay overnight or just wait a few hours until the next flight.
definitely.
So yes, I have been stuck at an airport. Not always fun,
Hmm.
not ever fun, really, but it happens.
I'm not even
Uh,
a commuter, and I've been, working, and the flight gets delayed. First, it's a rolling delay, so it's delayed for an hour, and then it's delayed for 2 hours, and then the next thing you know, we've been at the airport for 6 hours. This is when I advocate for being able to go outside. I mean, you just have to come back through security, but I wish there was a
yeah,
little like, but yeah, being stuck in airports is a thing. Working, commuting.
that 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 happens. Been there, done that. you learn to deal with it. You learn how to roll with it.
Have you heard
Um,
that that statistic that like I can't remember, but it's a certain amount of people who meet their significant other while being stuck at an airport. Have you heard about this?
I have not heard about that.
Okay, yeah, I think it's like it's like with a five. It might be like 5% or 0.5% people they meet the person that they're gonna be with at the airport.
Okay, so I met a couple who met at the airport. I'm gonna go ahead and just I'm gonna dish this. I was going from Charlotte to Akron. I was working the aft position,
Hmm.
and there's this family, husband and wife, and three children, all in the last row. One of the children was a lap infant. And I was just talking to got to talking. I mean, in the aircraft, we are literally shoulder to shoulder with whoever is next to us. So we get to
Literally.
talking, and he tells me a story how he was in Akron, in the boarding area, about to get on the flight. He sees this lady from across the room, and he was saying how, oh, she's nice looking. He was just admiring, not being creepy, but he just noticed
Hmm.
an attractive woman in the boarding area. They board the plane. Turns out they were sitting next to each other. And eventually they struck up a conversation. They hit it off. And years later, they ended up being married with
Wow.
children. And they were sitting in that, and that was all them.
That's so cute.
And it was the one time where, it was the only time this has happened for me. We arrive and they're getting all their, because they have the whole family. So they're getting their stuff together. And he says, hey, you want to hold the baby? And my first reaction is let me look at mom first, make sure it's okay with mom.
Is she
And,
cool with
and she
this?
kind of gives me the nod of approval.
Mm.
So I hold the baby while they get their stuff together. And so I
Oh,
thought that was really nice. But yeah, he told me the whole story, how he saw her in the boarding area. They sat next to each other. And then here they are with, you know, married with three children.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah.
That's the
So
upside. Maybe
I
getting
had
stuck at the
not
airport
heard.
ain't so bad.
Yeah, yeah. Now, one time I was having a little fun on the flight. I'm not gonna lie. I was also I was in the aft, and there was a lady in the last row, and this guy was coming down the aisle to sit there, and so I introduced them. Just trying
Matchmaking,
to, yeah,
matchmaking, baby.
tried to break the ice. And I just made up this stuff about her. I was like, she comes from a great family and she loves children, and just tried to do all that. I don't think they really hit it off, but I just thought it was fun trying. It
Yeah,
was it was entertainment at their expense, I'll
that's
admit,
it.
but
That's it. Sometimes I think
it
that too
made
when I see two people sit together and I'm like, are they traveling together? Oh no, they're not. Is this gonna be a love story later? Who knows?
yeah.
Yeah.
And then yeah, another thing I do is if you see like maybe an elderly couple or a
Mm.
couple that just appears to have been together a long time, I will ask them how they met. I'm not discreet about it. I ask them
Mm.
out loud where others can hear. And usually they're pretty happy to tell their story though.
Mm, mm.
So I've heard some pretty good stories of how couples met. I just ask them on the plane, usually during the while we're boarding or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And usually they're one of them is usually pretty proud to share the experience. One of them is proud to share, the other one kind of laughs and then maybe an embarrassment, but it's always a
Mm-hmm.
good story. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I think
yeah,
I had a couple of my flight a couple weeks ago. They were traveling for their 40th anniversary. And
nice.
of course, I had to know, well, how did this
Yeah,
happen? And they were sitting not next to each other, but one in front of the other. And they were just talking, like friends or whatever. And I'm like, oh, so y'all
yeah,
must know each other. And then she's like, yeah, it's our 40th anniversary. It's like, well, that's pretty
nice,
cool. Yeah, it was cool.
nice.
Okay, as we wrap up, I have two last questions for you.
Okay.
This one's kind of a little off topic of where we've been so far, but in the 70s or 80s, airlines would contract with airports to have full terminals to themselves. So if you've ever flown through JFK, you might see like the old TWA hotel. It's like a museum there now. So TWA had basically their own terminal there at JFK. And I think this happened at a few other airports. You can kind of see this in some airports that like, for instance, I don't know why I keep bringing up Dallas, but some of those gates blocked off, you'll see mostly American
Right.
flights or mostly Delta flights or mostly United flights or whatever. So it's kind of like that, but would you bring back a terminal belonging to a specific airline? Would you keep it at the way it is now, or would you do something different?
I like the idea of a terminal belonging to an airline. I still kind of see it now. It's just like you said, where I go through certain airports, certain terminals. I mean, it's exclusively one particular airline. Um, I just think that doing that allows that airline to really better cater to the passenger experience. You know, they have the lounge most of the major airlines have their own sort of club or lounge where in between flights they can go there.
Hmm.
Um, Hopefully, if one terminal is all one airline, then hopefully that'll mean those connecting flights are closer to one another.
Right.
They can kind of cater everything toward that else. So I like that. I actually like that idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it would do the airlines a lot of like branding power to
Yes.
really cater to that experience for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. And lastly, it was just on you. Is there anything that you wanted to talk about that you didn't get a chance to, or anything you would say about airports that we haven't covered yet?
I think that I just wanted to say this. I don't know if I mentioned it already. Being a flight attendant or maybe ground personnel for an airline, I think those are great career fields to consider. I put it this way. There's not, in my opinion, not many places where we can walk into essentially an entry level job and in time make a decent salary. I say in time because up front they don't pay well.
Hmm.
But for people who have put in time, there's potential to make a decent salary. I mean, I work with people who have flown for 30 and 40 years. When I was ground crew, same thing. Worked with guys who had been there 30 and 40 years. They'd have children who do the same job. You know,
Yeah,
they would have had the opportunity to put away for retirement and go on great vacations and support their families.
that's right. I think
Um,
aviation in general, like you want to go the pilot route, gate
yeah,
agent, you know?
pilot. Yeah, I mean it's a great career field.
Mm,
So and the demand for air traffic is only increasing.
that's right. I didn't even think about that.
So yeah, great career field. There's so many different opportunities at the airport, not just ground crew or flight crew. There's airport management. I've worked with people who have managed airports before. There's security. There are many customer facing positions like gate agents, ticketing agents, customer service. The airlines have credit unions at
Hmm.
airports. I mean, there's so many there. They have every airline, the major airlines have their own sky clubs.
Yeah, true.
So there really are. Matter of fact, yeah, there's health professionals who work at the airports. There's police, there's firemen, there's maintenance, aircraft maintenance, there's
That's a good
maintenance
gig too,
for
maintenance.
yeah, there's maintenance for the airport itself. So and then there's infrastructure as far as the tech ops. I mean, there are lots of opportunities at the airport. So anyone who is interested, I would just encourage them to explore all the opportunities and know that often people will move from one area to another once they, kind of immerse themselves in seeing all the moving parts that are involved at the at any airport.
Right on. Well, it has been such a pleasure having you on, talking to you. This was a really fun conversation for me.
Likewise. I really enjoyed it as well. Thank you for the invitation.
Yeah.
I definitely appreciate the opportunity to just kind of share and talk about some of the things I've seen and witnessed and heard. So,
Yeah, maybe we'll have you on again.
would love to.
Thanks so much for listening to another episode. We really hope you liked it. If you did, don't forget to subscribe so you can get more episodes as they're released. I really enjoyed talking to Marques about this topic. If you liked it, drop a comment. What's your favorite airport? Did we miss any airport amenities? Let us know. And remember, sometimes you have to lay over to go further.